What's up, bud? It's Rob. This is Apparel Success. And in this video here, what I want to talk to you about are the nuances of influencer marketing for your clothing brand. I've gained a ton of experience on this in the past couple months, and so I want to share some advice with you on how to best use influencers inside your clothing brand, how to land them for your clothing brand, and how to communicate with them. And so I think this is going to be a great video. Here it is. Apparel Success is sponsored by my buds over at Design Crowd. And if you're struggling with the designs of your clothing brand, you haven't tried out Design Crowd yet, then I don't know what to tell you, because they're literally the best place that I could recommend for you to go. You post a project on Design Crowd, amazing designers from all around the world are going to compete for your project. You choose the winner, then you get that design plus revisions. I've sold hundreds of this hoodie in the past couple months, and I got the design made through Design Crowd. If you're interested, head over to designcrowd.com/apparel to learn about the special offer that I have for you where you can save up to $100, or simply use the discount code APPAREL when you post a project on Design Crowd. All right, so if you're sitting over there wondering, rightly so, whether I'm credible to be talking on the subject of how to get celebrities and influencers for your clothing brand, I've been running my own clothing brand for about 4.5 years now, and I've landed dozens of celebrities and influencers for my own brand. And I honestly consider this one of my biggest strengths when it comes to marketing and growing my own clothing brand. So I feel like I have a lot to share with you here, and I can really help you when it comes to getting influencers and how to use them for your own clothing brand. So let's get into it. The first thing that I want to talk about here is what influencers even do for your clothing brand, okay? What even is an influencer? An influencer, like even the name influencer is kind of ridiculous, right? But an influencer is basically just somebody who has an influence over the behavior of their audience. And so when you get your clothing worn by this influencer, they're going to potentially have an influence on their audience to buy your clothing, to want to wear your clothing. That's the whole purpose of it. And, you know, I know that that's sort of obvious in the background, but it's really good to get clear on that just so that you can sort of understand the vibe of what the hell we're even doing here. The very first thing that I always consider before I approach a celebrity or an influencer to wear our clothing is alignment. Is that celebrity or influencer aligned with our brand concept? Because there's no point reaching out to a celebrity or an influencer to try to get them to wear your clothing if they're not going to have an influence on your audience. If your audience doesn't look up to that person and view them as, you know, cool or somebody that is influential, and maybe they're outside of your market, they're a different type of personality from your clothing brand, then there's no point in going after them at all. So the very first thing that you want to consider is this influencer that I'm considering aligned with my clothing brand concept? And the more that that influencer is aligned with your brand concept, it should be a perfect overlap. The more influential they're going to be, the more it's going to be worth your money if you want to pay them to wear your clothing, or the more it's just going to be worth your money if you decide to just send them free clothing in the hopes that they'll wear it. So for my own clothing brand, as an example, my clothing brand represents rural Canada. And so all of the influencers that I go after are influencers that all live in rural Canada, experience rural Canada, say the same things that we do, talk the same way that we do, and they literally have the same personality as my brand's personality. And, you know, by going after people who are this aligned with your clothing brand concept, this is how you're going to find people that are actually passionate about promoting your brand for you. You're going to reach out to them and they're going to be excited to hear from you. I've reached out to influencers and I've had the response where it's like, oh my God, this literally just made my day. Your clothing brand is absolutely awesome. It's hilarious. You know, because my clothing brand is literally sort of a funny, humorous clothing brand, and they're like stoked to get it and to support the brand. And that's the type of reaction that you want. You'll notice that if you reach out to people who are out of alignment with your brand concept and they're not really a perfect match, that they'll just kind of be like, yeah, sure, you can send me something or something like that. It's just like, oh crap, like, is this person really into it? Like, do I really know that this person wants to support the brand? And this is really important. And this actually leads into the next thing that I wanted to talk about, which is before I send anybody an offer for free clothing or to make a post for us, I'll chat them up a bit first. And I'm just trying to vibe them out to see whether they're actually excited to hear from my clothing brand. And it's something that, you know, they're passionate about. And I want to see if they're willing to invest in the conversation and actually sort of get along with us. Because if they're not willing to communicate like that and they're just kind of giving you one-word answers, then you just know that they're going to be the type of influencer where as you're trying to communicate with them, they're becoming flaky, they're not making posts, maybe they accept your clothing, you never hear back from them, that type of thing. And so the very first thing that I'll do is they'll just like, hey, we love that album that you came out with. We've been listening to it all the time. Or, we love that movie that you starred in. It's like one of our favorites here. That type of thing. And just see if they're like, oh my God, that's absolutely amazing. I love your clothing brand. Because if they're like that, then that's going to be that's such a great indicator that you can have a legitimate relationship with that influencer where it's a win-win situation and where they're willing to communicate with you. Because if they're not willing to do that, I'm just immediately like, okay, the guard's up, and I kind of want to work them a little bit more and just see how they're feeling about our brand. Because there's no point in, forcing this down their throat. If they're not interested, they're not interested, and just move on and find somebody else. If after chatting them up a bit, they seem like they're really into your brand and that they're just cool and that they're responding well, and I'm literally just talking about messaging people in the DMs here, like little messages, I'm not talking about anything special, then the next thing that I'll do is I'll offer them free clothing. So this is before offering any sort of contract where it's like, we'll pay you $100 a post for 4 posts and you have to post on this day and things like that. Before any of that, I'll just offer them free clothing. And the reason why I want to do this is because I want to see how they respond. I want to see if they're into it and if it's something that they're excited about. And if they are excited about it, then it's a perfect win-win situation. What usually happens next is when they receive the clothing, they'll wear it and take a picture of them wearing it and send it to you, or they'll make a post of them wearing it and post it on their own account. And the reason why they'll do this is because they just received free clothing from you. You just sent them free gear. And any sort of grateful human being will accept that and say, okay, well, I want to help these guys out. I want to make a post, or I want to send them a picture of me wearing it because I know that it's going to benefit them. And most of these celebrities and influencers are aware of this, right? They know that it's going to help you and that they want to help you if they like your clothing brand. And so when that happens, you've really established a solid relationship with that influencer. And this is where recently I've taken it to the next level, where if you want to gain more control over your exposure to their audience and you want to really make a win-win situation between your clothing brand and them, what you do is you message them now that they've received your clothing, they're into it, you guys are all friends and you're talking openly, and you say, hey, we'd really like to pay you to make a few posts on your account. We don't just expect you to do this for free all the time for us. And we know that, you've got your own content strategy going on. So a message that I'd write is, hey, we really love your content. We'd love to pay you to make some posts for K-Bud. Let us know if you're interested. And if they say, oh, you know what, I'm not really into that sort of thing, then that's cool. I haven't really heard that before in the past, to be honest. What they'll probably say is, yes, absolutely, because influencers want to make money too, right? And so they'll reach out and they'll say, yeah, absolutely. And then you say, okay, well, I'll get back to you with an offer in a couple minutes or in an hour or whatever it is. Or even right now, you can just send them an offer. And an offer that we do is something like, hey, we'll offer you to make 1 post once a week for the next 4 weeks. We'll pay you $100 a post or whatever it is that you think that influencer would, be willing to accept based on their audience size. The one that we've been working with recently has an audience size of 26,000 people that are like perfectly aligned with our clothing brand. And so, we offered her $100 a post to make 1 post every week for 4 weeks on her account. And she's just absolutely loving it because she's making $100 every time she makes a post. We're getting exposed to her audience, which is extremely engaged with her account. They all love our clothing brand, and it's really just this win-win situation for everybody. And that's the way that I recommend going about influencer marketing and working with celebrities to grow your clothing brand. I think that when you just cold approach people on Instagram or any other social media platform and you say, hey, we want to pay you to make posts. Are you willing to? Right off the bat, there's been no relationship established. You haven't been able to build trust. There's no communication. You don't even know if they're cool, if you even want them to be influencers for you. And so this is the type of thing that I recommend doing, and it's worked out really well for us, and it just continues to work really well for us. So I figured I'd share that with you in sort of a way that where you can see the entire journey like that, and I hope it really helped. I think for this topic, it'd be really cool to hear your experiences getting celebrities and influencers for your own clothing brand in the comments below. It'd really help out everybody else to hear exactly how you've gone about getting influencers, who you've landed, how you got it, and all that type of thing, just to inspire people and help everybody out. So if you've had any experience with it, or if you just want to make a comment, feel free to write it in the comments below. And if you haven't already, check out my free clothing brand marketing masterclass All you have to do to get access is go to apparelsuccess.com/masterclass, and you can watch the whole thing for free. And if you made it to this point in the video, I want to tell you about the closed Facebook group that we have for Apparel Success. There's a link in the description. Follow that link, join us in the group, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.